the new branch of botany that is there in your syllabus, that is anatomy. Anatomy is nothing but in anatomy you will be studying about the internal structure of the plant body, like what is the internal makeover or makeup or arrangement of cells of all the internal organs of the body. What are the internal organs of the body here? When we consider a TS of a stem, you will see epidermis, cortex, pericycle, endodermis, pericycle and vascular bundles. So here in anatomy we will be studying the basic internal organization of each section of the tissue and what type of tissues are present, how they are arranged, all that will be studied in the anatomy, of which we will be dealing today. The first topic here is tissues. So when we talk about tissues, what is tissue actually? For example, let us take we are in terms of botany we are talking about plant. Okay, if we consider it as a bigger plant. Okay, now how is a tree developed? How do we get tree? Tree is nothing but a combination or a complex structure made up of many simple structures together, combined together. So what is a tree? A combination of different simple structures. What are those? A tree consists of both leaves, branches, stems, fruits, flowers, right? So in the sense here we in sciences we considered cell as the basic structural and functional unit. So what is cell? So any living organism which is made up of, life starts with what? A protozoan, a unicellular organism, then it will go under multiplications or divisions, and evolution wise it gets converted from unicellular to the multicellular level of organism. So this multiplication or the life, initiation of life is nothing but the basic unit for the life in a cell is, in an organism, is cell. So this cell put together, a combination of n number of cells will make a tissues. So these tissues together will form an organ. Group of organs will form an plant body. So for example, it is like cells will give rise to, group of cells will give rise to tissues. Tissues will give rise to plant organs, and plant organs will give rise to a total tree. Or like human body is there. Human body is made up of first small cell, and again it will develop its different arms, hands, legs, eyes, then totally we have a total body structure developed, or total organ system is developed. N number of organ system will give rise to a total structure. So in the same way, in the plant body also, a group basic unit of structural and functional unit is cell, and group of cells put together will make it a tissue, and group of tissues combined make it into a different organs. Okay, next this group of organs combine and make it into a complete plant structure. So for example, we have taken an example of tree. How tree comes from a seedling, seed, next it will germinate into a small baby plant. From baby plant it will develop into branches, root system, shoot system, leaves, stem and bigger leaves. Those all will get into a total whole structure of the tree. Okay, now the next topic we have here is tissues. So we have said earlier that cell is the basic structural and functional unit. Maybe it is an unicellular organism or an evolved form multicellular organism. Because of the cells, combination of cells will give rise to tissues. Now when we are talking in terms of the plants, there are two types of tissues. Those are meristematic tissues. Tissues are basically divided into two types. Those are meristematic tissues and permanent tissues. Okay. Now again, these meristematic tissues are again divided into three types on the basis of either position or on the basis of origin from where they have originated. And again when we come to the permanent tissue, here again they are of three types: simple tissue, complex tissue and special tissues. Now first we will talk about meristematic tissue. Okay. Now what are meristematic tissues? As the name itself indicates, meristematic means the capacity of division. If the tissue is having a continuous capacity of division throughout its lifespan, then those type of tissues are called as meristematic tissue. Okay. Basically, meristematic tissues are present throughout the life. Whatever the growth division is occurring in a cell, these are because of the presence of meristematic tissues. Now, basically meristematic tissue is divided into two types. Those are primary meristems and secondary meristems. No, as the name itself indicates, primary meristem, these are the meristems which are originated from the embryonic cells. All the primary body of the plant is made up of this primary meristem, and these are divided on the basis of the position, the place where they are originating. In a plant body where they are originating, the meristematic tissue is divided into 3 types. Those are apical meristems, lateral meristems and intercalary meristems. Okay. Secondary meristems are those type of meristems which are derived from the permanent tissues, and these meristems are also called as secondary tissues, and these type of meristems which are useful for undergoing the secondary growth in the plant body, which are also in a state of continuous division. So, there are 2 types of meristems on the basis of origin. Those are either primary meristem or secondary meristem. The meristem which is coming from the embryonic cells, which later on gets divided into 3 types on the basis of the position in which they are occurring in the plant, and the secondary meristem which is originated from the permanent tissue, which will also called as secondary tissue, which will leads ultimately to the occurrence of secondary growth in the plant body. Okay. Now, next I will come in detail to this later on, just we will finish off this. Next, what are permanent tissues? As we said earlier, meristematic tissue are a type of tissue where the state of division is continuous, right. Now, the opposite of this is permanent tissue. What is permanent tissue here? A type of tissue where the division of the cells is stopped. At a particular time, there will be no division. The division of the cell will be up to a particular period, and next there will be no continuous state of division in the cells. Those type of tissues are called as permanent tissues. These permanent tissues are again divided into 3 types. What are those 3 types? The simple tissue, there are complex tissue, and there are special tissues. Okay. Then why we are categorizing this into 3 categories when we know that 3 of them don't have a continuous state of division. So, the basic difference between the 3 types of tissues are: in simple tissue, what is happening in simple tissue? Simple tissues are again divided into parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, right. Now, what is simple tissue? A simple tissue are those group of cells which are similar in origin, similar in structure and similar in function. Their origin will be same, structurally more or less same, and functionally also almost same. Okay, next, what is complex tissue? Complex tissue, as the name itself indicates, there are 2 different types of tissues which have the different origin, different position of origin, and the function is also totally different. So, in complex tissue, we will talk about 2 tissues, those are called as xylem and phloem. Now, what is xylem? All we know, xylem is a water conducting tissue. This is W I am writing, it is water conducting tissue, and phloem is a F, that is food conducting tissue. Okay. Xylem is also called as water conducting tissue. The alternative name of xylem is known as hydrome. Next, phloem is a food conducting tissue. Instead of food I have written F. F means here food material or food supplier of the plant. Now, this food conducting tissue is also called as leptome. So, when we go in detail about the complex tissue, we will study about the different components of xylem and different components of phloem, how these are useful in, and normally how these both xylem and phloem tissue are useful in the vascular bundle arrangement. Now, where do we find this xylem and phloem? As we all know, we have heard about xylem and phloem. In the existence of xylem and phloem occurs in the structure called as vascular bundle. Now, what is vascular bundle? Where do you find vascular bundle? When we take the TS of a stem, we will see the uppermost layer cuticle, then epidermis, then cortex, next in barrel shape endodermis, next 2 to 3 layer pericycle. Next, you come into connection with, in context with the vascular bundles. So, vascular bundles are nothing but these are the vascular tissues which are made up of xylem and phloem. So, the vascular bundles, if it will be like this in shape. So, it is having xylem and it is having a phloem. So, the arrangement of xylem and phloem varies depending upon the type of species, either it is a stem, root or leaf, the arrangement of vascular bundle varies. So, this is about complex tissue. When we talk about complex tissue in detail, we will be studying. Now, next we have xylem elements. In xylem elements, we will be having xylem parenchyma, xylem vessels, xylem trichetes, xylem fibers, phloem companion cells, sieve elements, phloem fibers, phloem parenchyma, all these are present. Now, next is you are having special tissues. What is the need of special tissue when we have food conducting and water conducting tissue, as well as we are having simple tissue? We have special tissue, complex tissue and meristematic tissues. Then what is the need of special tissue in the plant? So there are some cells which helps in the secretion of some secondary metabolites or some substances in the liquid form from the plant body. Special juices or secretory cells are present. So that comes under special type of tissues, and these special type of tissues are again divided into secretory cells and secretory glands. We have nectar glands, nectar secreting plants are there, insectivorous plants are there. All these comes, their study comes under special type of tissue. Altogether this is the route map of the tissues what we are going to study in this chapter. There are meristematic and permanent, there are simple, complex and special tissues, and on the basis of the position where the meristematic tissue is occurring, it is of three types: apical meristem, lateral meristems and intercalary meristems.